So as you begin to walk the symbolic path, to develop the symbolic awareness of viewing and interpreting the symbols that reality places into your life, that God places into your life to guide you can begin to notice how certain people, certain situations, certain events, certain patterns will simply, like out of thin air, just appear. Specifically to get you to ponder a particular aspect of yourself that you need to work on, that you need to explore. Just to give a brief example of this, if I am able to remain brief with it, I am in a 15-month-long men's group, and throughout these 15 months, we are spending 2 months on each energy center, from the root all the way to the crown. And right now we are in the transition from the root chakra up into the sacral chakra. And the transition hasn't clearly happened. It's like next month is when we start the sacral, but already my reality has placed into my life a mirror that is like so incredibly directly addressing the very transition and interconnection between these two energy centers, between the roots, my deepest fears, my deepest ways in which I'm disconnected from the mother, my security, my safety, and then into the sexual realm of deep desire for alchemical union, of this procreative desire to exchange life essence to create life. This primordial energy, which is what brought us all here, among other things. And so when you begin to live within that symbolic realm and to walk that symbolic path, you can begin to pay attention to and to notice how things come into your life at a particular time and place, specifically to address particular things within your being. And then, with that awareness, you can know what to do with it. You can understand, oh, this is where this is trying to guide me. This is what this is trying to tell me about myself. This is why this is happening. And this is potentially how I can handle it, what I can do with it, how I can work with it for the purposes of my soul's expansion and transformation, for a deeper union with the divine and with your soul's call. So that then you can begin to take notice of what is appearing. Is there an old loop that you've been carrying with you your whole life? Yes. Are the thoughts in your brain, in your mind, continuously running a script, a story that you've been telling yourself for years and years? Is your work situation a manifestation of childhood wounds, of something that you used to do as a teenager that is like, huh, I used to do that. Why did I do that? What was I looking for? Are the people who are showing up in your life talking to you about particular things, offering you certain alchemical mirrors that are inviting you to look more deeply into yourself at certain parts of yourself that you see within them? Are there certain synchronicities presenting themselves continuously in your life? Certain themes and patterns continuously presenting themselves to you, to your eyes, saying, I am here. I am part of this reality. I am a mirror of you. And how willing do you find yourself to look into that mirror? Do you find yourself wanting to dive deeper when you see these reflections, when you see these symbols emerge, when you see these people who remind you of these very deep things within yourself? Does it make you want to look more deeply? Does it make you want to understand, work with it? Or do you maybe want to recoil? Do you want to hide from it? Do you want to run from it? Do you want to escape it? Do you want to pretend like it doesn't exist, like it's not there? And do you want to avoid at all costs looking at the parts of yourself which are resonantly calling that in? Well, let me tell you. If there is such a loop, if there is such a pattern that continuously is repeating itself, and you turn away from it, and you repress it, and you run and you don't face it, that repressed energy is just going to be cultivated, built up within your field, within your heart, within your being. And your reality generation field and God are going to bring that very pattern back into your life over and over and over and over again. And each time you repress it, it's going to come back stronger. So that you are absolutely forced to look at it. And this can happen in a few months, in a few weeks, in a few years, or even over lifetimes. Literal lifetimes and reincarnation, and you live an entire life refusing to face the pattern, so you're born into a new life with new opportunities to face that pattern, and then maybe you refuse in that life, so you try again in the next one, and in the next one, and then the next one, until you choose with your free will to be willing to look at that part of yourself. And to look at that part of your microcosmic instantiation of self, of humanity. Because you're not doing this work just for you, you're doing it for humanity itself, and for the universe, and for God and goddess. And I'm not going to get so deep on it right this moment, but what I will say is that this age that we're living in right now, where there is so much disconnection, where there's so much detachment, where there's so much bloodshed, warfare, misalignment, just complete faithlessness and decay and debauchery and violence and hatred. This is the result of humanity refusing to look at its own wounds because they're too scary. Refusing for thousands upon thousands of years. And so it accumulates. It is repressed, and as you repress it, all of that potential energy is like an imploding star, and it's just waiting to burst. And that bursting, that supernova, is your soul and our collective soul's expansion and liberation. So it's all good in the hood, as they say. It's all good. The soul's expansion will burn away all that is false and return us to the truth of that which we are, of who we are. Bring us back to God. The point is, you came here to do that work. You came here now, in this age, when all of these reflections are what's available. On a macrocosmic level, but also in just the micro level of your micro interactions with society, with work, with people, with nature, with the world. So what are you being called to look at? And what do you really not want to look at? What skeletons are hidden in your closet, which you know are there, which you see in other people, which you see in the loops and the patterns that present themselves, in the symbols that present themselves? What are you not looking at? And it's not just skeletons in the closet and shadows, it's also luminosity and soulful being and magnificence and magic. Are there aspects of your own beauty which you're not allowing yourself to look at? Are your gifts being presented to you, being called in by witnessing, for example, someone else who's offering their gifts to you? Do you witness certain people who are bringing a certain luminosity into your life, a certain beaming, a certain radiance, a certain alignment with God, and you're like, wow, that's nice. I would like to live like that. I've certainly had such interactions in the past year or so. They've been coming in especially strongly. And it's so clear. It's like these things come into my field by the divine orchestrations of God in such absolute perfection, wherein the messages which are synchronistically placed in my life but could be for anyone at all, they seem directly for me, as if God had placed a certain person in my life specifically to talk to me, as if their entire life, their entire blueprint, their entire astrological code was specifically designed to match with my astrological code, to like have this particular planet like work with my particular planet, and then this square in conjunction. I don't even know the language, but like these blueprints are just designed to work together, come do the alchemy, and then help each other expand and discover what the soul's expansion wishes to be, and that which stands within the way, or that which stands in the way of the soul's expansion. I'm not sure where the sun went. It's coming. There's a little bit of sun right there. So all you really need to do with such things, with this transmission that I'm imparting on you, is just pay attention and be present, and know that God is speaking in all things, and God is guiding you to yourself in all things. Just have that awareness. And then how deeply you choose to work with that is up to you. I understand, for example, in my experience, when I've been more in a 9 to 5, I haven't done the 9 to 5 really ever, but when I've just had to work and work and work, doing jobs that I don't really enjoy much, then I find myself coming home and I'm tired, and I don't like make the time to dive into like pondering, okay, well, what is this work saying to me symbolically? How is this trying to tell me something? How is this person that just came into my field mirror? I understand that sometimes it might be difficult to make the time and to take the time to really pause and reflect and analyze and do the work, and then like really go inward and dive deep. I understand that is difficult, and there might be some of you who, like me at some point in my life, might have said, well, I don't have time, I don't have energy, oh, it's too difficult. It will be difficult until you choose to make it easy. It will be difficult until you choose to do it in spite of its difficulty. It will be difficult until you let go of the difficulty. And until you allow yourself to face that which the difficulty is trying to tell you. It is specifically difficult. It is challenging. It is a barrier specifically because it is that which you need to overcome within yourself in order to become more fully yourself. And ironically, the simple choice of allowing yourself to be yourself and of allowing God to do the work through you and of just renouncing this tendency to control and to cling and to like decide every outcome and decide how it's going to happen. Like, okay, what is here? What is being asked of me? Ask God, what are you trying to tell me? How do you want me to work with this? What can I do with this mirror? What can I do with this pattern? What can I do with this situation? You ask those questions and you sit down for 15 minutes, maybe 30, maybe an hour, and you write about it. You journal. Or maybe you don't journal, maybe you just move your body and you like feel into your body. What does the body and the stored memories within the body, what is the body trying to say about this? Or maybe you go into nature, into the forest, or on a walk, anywhere that you would like. And you set your phone down, and you put all distractions away, and you simply allow yourself to be. And you ask for guidance. You ask God, you ask Goddess, you ask your angels, you ask your guides, you ask for the presence of the divine. And you can get really clear about your intentions. And you simply either speak it aloud, speak it internally, and then you just listen and pay attention. And the answers and the guidance will come. And so too will the symbols. And the more you call them in, the more fervently they will present themselves to you. And the more you begin to walk this path and to dance this symbiotic dance between you and reality, recognizing the soulful enmeshment and interplay that is present within it, within that co-creative act of conscious being, then you can walk that more consciously. And you can play with it. And you can dive into it. And you can begin to make your life more meaningful, more worthwhile, more even fun and playful, and more devoted to the divinity which ultimately we are all seeking within ourselves. and within the world. It begins with a choice to consciously and consciously see that divinity within all things, speaking to you, guiding you, holding you, and inviting you into your own heart, where all the answers dwell. So if you've watched this far, I appreciate you, because it means you speak this symbolic language. There's something that resonates. And I'd be curious if you have any symbols in your life, any patterns, any people that, like, as I've spoken this video, you're like, okay, clearly this is what's happening in my life. Just any examples. I'd be really curious. Part of me making this YouTube channel is like to magnetize and attract people who speak this language, people who perceive the world in this way, people who are awakening this symbolic perception, to know that I'm not alone in doing it, and to know that you are not alone in doing it. And then we can exchange and help one another out and hold up mirrors of this divine potency of transformation to one. So yeah, if you feel called to share anything, I would be happy to witness. Thank you. Many forest blessings to you, and may the symbols be graceful, loving, warm in their transformations of you into the divinity which you are.